My Lord Mayor, Secretary General, distinguished guests, good morning. I'm Chris Hayward and I'm the Policy Chairman and the political leader here at the City of London Corporation. And let me start by welcoming you all back to today's Net Zero Delivery Summit. I hope you had a good break and a nice cup of coffee or tea. Now today, over half of the world's economy, 55% of global GDP, is moderately or highly dependent on nature. Agriculture, energy production, construction, fishing, forestry, mining, pharmaceuticals, all industries depend on nature. All industries are at risk by this climate crisis, and all industries need help with the net zero transition. Because we need nature just as we need our climate. They support each other. And if we take care of nature and our climate, they will in turn take care of us. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'd like to discuss with you today. Progress by financing the net zero transition. Amid the vast scale and range of global challenges that we face today, there is no more urgent a question than the climate crisis. And whilst answering the climate question is, of course, extremely complex and difficult, we must always remember to make the optimistic case that the net zero transition is a generational opportunity. Indeed, Chris Skidmore, who spoke earlier today, in his review, described net zero as the economic opportunity of the 21st century. Now, 6 months ago, I attended the COP28 in Dubai, making that very case, that the transition is an opportunity to create new jobs, new technologies, and new economic growth. And whilst in Dubai, I saw global determination to meet our net zero goals. Negotiators reached a commitment to tripling renewables and a historic mention of transitioning away from fossil fuels in the final text. Now, I accept that this might not be progress as fast as we would all like, but it is nonetheless progress. This was a crucial step forward that was unachievable the year before. And the other key takeaway from COP28 was the consistent message wherever I went that private sector finance must play a crucial role in the transition. There is no whole economy transition without private finance. It is, ladies and gentlemen, the key, in my view, that unlocks progress. And that is why we are gathered here today, to take a private sector lens to the key outcomes from COP28 and to explore how we can drive forward progress in the run-up to COP29 in Azerbaijan. Now, as the governing body of a global financial centre, the City of London Corporation recognises our responsibility to lead the transition. Our climate action strategy commits us to achieving net zero carbon emissions in our own operations by 2027, but we also aim to become net zero across our investment and supply chain by 2040, and to support the achievement of net zero for the whole square mile by the same year. We are aligning our investments to the Paris Agreement goals, ensuring that climate change is at the heart of all of the decisions that we take. Our climate action strategy in the City Corporation makes us the first United Kingdom governing body to have a fully funded net zero commitment that covers all emissions. And taken together, these actions have resulted in us cutting our annual carbon emissions by 66% and energy consumption by 21% since 2018-2019. And then, just as significant is the City Corporation's role as a convener of United Kingdom financial and professional services. As the leading light of sustainable finance globally, we know that UK-based financial and professional services have a responsibility to showcase the opportunities of net zero. Take transition finance. As 2030 emission targets near, there is increasing scrutiny on how decarbonisation activities will be financed. We need to establish a strong, high-integrity market for transition finance. We need to build trust and help support companies with the capital to decarbonise and deliver on our net zero ambitions. The United Kingdom is leading in this space through the Independent Transition Finance Market Review. The City Corporation co-leads and hosts the Secretariat on behalf of Treasury, and I'm delighted we'll be hearing from Vanessa Harvard-Williams, the chair of the review, later. The review will look at how the United Kingdom can become the best place for raising transition capital, gathering evidence from stakeholders and looking at peers like Singapore's transition taxonomy, India's ongoing transition finance review, and Japan's transition bonds. Now, key themes that a successful transition finance market will need to consider include the importance of a high integrity approach. Transition finance is a global tool, and so global frameworks are vital. That need for standards applies across the chain, from transactions right the way up to targets and pathways for financing. And secondly, data. We need to think better about how we use data and information to inform decision making. What is right, for example, for SMEs may not be right for global giants. And that includes better sharing of information and technologies so that we know what works well and what doesn't. This will help transition finance reach those that need it. And thirdly, transition finance needs to be supported by long-term planning with a clear direction of travel. We need a clear focus on impact and a roadmap to meet goals. Now, I'm confident in the promise that transition finance holds. It can help companies with a difficult journey to net zero. It can be a focal point for global action. And most importantly of all, it can help deliver that global progress that we all want to see. But, of course, there is more that we can do. High-integrity carbon markets are vital in channeling private sector capital to effective climate solutions. And though voluntary carbon markets are relatively small today, they have the potential to support significant decarbonisation across developed and developing economies. COP28 delivered high-level endorsement of carbon markets. Together with the COP presidency and the World Bank, senior officials from the United States, Singapore, Indonesia, and the United Kingdom called on the private sector to unlock high-integrity carbon markets. And we here at the City of London Corporation support a high-integrity carbon market ecosystem. We provide the Secretariat to the UK Carbon Markets Forum, and we are a founding sponsor for the Integrity Council for Voluntary Carbon Markets. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I started by saying that over half of the world's economy, 55% of global GDP, is moderately or highly dependent on nature. Nature is our greatest asset to fight the climate crisis. At COP28, we saw an increasing push for climate and nature to be considered in tandem. Brazil's National Development Bank announced the Arc of Restoration program, a $215 million effort to save the Amazon rainforest. often thought of as the lungs of the earth. 21 countries endorsed the mangrove breakthrough goal of restoring and protecting 15 million hectares of mangroves globally. And there was the high-level champion launch of the Joint Statement for Climate, Nature and People. By integrating nature into financial and business decisions, we can support the planet and safeguard our global economic ecosystem. Together, transition finance, carbon markets, and nature finance are all important steps that can help private sector finance change our climate trajectory. Steps, I suggest, of progress. So let's use today to build momentum, to explore solutions, and to help finance the net zero transition. And I look forward to working with each of you to make our climate ambitions a climate reality. Thank you.